Hello, and welcome to the Department of Elections Ranked Choice Voting instructional video. This video is part of the Department of Elections Ranked Choice Voting outreach campaign and is designed to educate San Francisco voters about ranked choice voting. Today we will learn what ranked choice voting is and who is elected using this new voting method. We will also talk about what the ranked choice ballot looks like and how to mark it correctly. Finally, we'll see how the ranked choice voting process works and show you an example of an election using ranked choice voting. So, what is ranked choice voting? In March of 2002, San Francisco voters adopted a charter amendment to implement ranked choice voting, also known as instant runoff voting. San Francisco voters will use ranked choice voting to elect most local officials by selecting a first-choice candidate in the first column on the ballot, and different second and third choice candidates in the second and third columns, respectively. This makes it possible to elect local officials with a majority of votes, more than 50%, without the need for a separate runoff election. In San Francisco, ranked choice voting applies to the election of members of the Board of Supervisors, the mayor, sheriff, district attorney, city attorney, treasurer, assessor-recorder, and public defender. Ranked choice voting does not apply to elections for local school and community college board members, nor the election of state or federal officials. Ranked choice voting does not affect the adoption of ballot measures. When voters receive their ballot, either at a polling place or as an absentee ballot in the mail, it will consist of multiple cards. Voters will receive cards that contain contests for federal and state offices, as well as for state propositions and local ballot measures. For ranked choice voting contests, voters will receive a separate ranked choice ballot card. The design of the ranked choice ballot card and the instructions to rank 3 choices are new. The ranked choice ballot is designed in a side-by-side column format that lists the names of all candidates in each of the 3 columns. When marking the ranked choice ballot, voters select their first choice candidate in the first column by completing the arrow pointing to their choice. For their second choice, voters select a different candidate in the second column by completing the arrow pointing to their choice. For their third choice, voters select a different candidate in the third column by completing the arrow pointing to their choice. Voters wishing to vote for a qualified write-in candidate for any of their 3 choices can write in a candidate's name on the line provided, and they must complete the arrow pointing to their choice. Keep in mind, a voter should select a different candidate for each of the 3 columns of the ranked choice ballot card. If a voter selects the same candidate in more than one column, his or her vote for that candidate will count only once. Also, a voter's second choice will be counted only if his or her first choice candidate has been eliminated. And a voter's third choice will be counted only if both his or her first and second choice candidates have been eliminated. We have talked about how to mark the ranked choice ballot. Now, let's look at how ranked choice voting works. Initially, every first choice vote is counted. Any candidate who receives a majority, more than 50% of the first choice votes, is determined to be the winner. If no candidate receives more than 50% of the first choice votes, a process of eliminating candidates and transferring votes begins. First, the candidate who received the fewest number of first-choice votes is eliminated from the race. Second, voters who selected the eliminated candidate as their first choice will have their vote transferred to their second choice. Third, all the votes are recounted. Fourth, if any candidate receives more than 50% of the votes, he or she is declared the winner. If no candidate receives more than 50% of the votes, the process of eliminating candidates and transferring votes is repeated until one candidate has a winning majority. Now let's look at an example of an election using ranked choice voting. In this example, we have 3 candidates: Candidate A, Candidate B, and Candidate C. After all the first choice votes are counted, none of the 3 candidates has received more than 50%, or a majority of the first choice votes cast. Candidate A has received 25% of the votes, Candidate B has received 40% of the votes, and Candidate C received 35% of the votes. Because no candidate received a majority, the candidate who received the fewest number of first choice votes, Candidate A, is eliminated from the race. Voters who picked Candidate A as their first choice candidate will have their vote transferred to their second choice candidate. Of the voters who picked Candidate A as their first choice candidate, 15% chose Candidate B as their second choice candidate, and 10% chose Candidate C as their second choice candidate. These votes are then applied to Candidate B and Candidate C, and the votes are recounted. We see now that Candidate B has 55% of the votes, and Candidate C has 45% of the vote. Candidate B now has more than 50% of the votes and is determined to be the winner. Thank you for watching. We hope that you have learned more about ranked choice voting and who is elected using this method. You have seen the ranked choice ballot, learned how to correctly mark it, and learned how the ranked choice voting process works. If you have any further questions about ranked choice voting, please contact us at Department of Elections, City Hall, Room 48, 1 Dr. Carlton B. Goodlett Place, San Francisco, California, 94102. Or call us at 415-554-4375. Visit our website at www.sfgov.org/election/RCV.